Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins at a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jawing About the GMen Giants Football Podcast. I'm Big Jace, joined by Sean Scanlon. No intro today. Not a lot of highlights. That's why I didn't make it. I don't want to relive that disaster that was 48-22 loss to the Eagles. Man, it's rough. I mean, this end of the season is terrible. Like, when the Giants lost to the Eagles, I said it. I was in our little Clovercrest Media group chat saying, guys, this could spiral and spiral and spiral. If the Giants don't pick up a win this week, if they don't pick up at least 2 wins in these last 3 weeks, I think there will be a narrative going into the offseason. Is Brian Daboll the guy? I mean, this is a guy who I think there will start to be those questions. And I don't know. And then obviously there's a glaring issue also coming in the offseason with who you're going to pay, Saquon or Daniel Jones. That's something we're going to have to talk about. But can you tell where my mind is? I'm wearing all black. The Giants are really dead to me at this point. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the offseason because that's what this game was. I've come on here the past 2 weeks. Azeez Ojulari, you had the 2 sacks, but outside of that, I mean, you're playing great. You're easing in things. You're doing great. Kayvon Thibodeau, like, why didn't he play? Did I miss something? Sean, did I miss something?
That man gets held every play. He was there. And I know the sack numbers aren't there, but, I mean, he is getting to the quarterback. He's forcing bad throws, getting a lot of quarterback hits. And I know it sucks to see. I saw your little rant on him a couple weeks ago on here. But I know that the sack numbers aren't there, but he's still getting the job done, getting to the quarterback. And he gets held every goddamn play. I don't know why they don't call it ever. It's very frustrating. But, yeah, I mean, Azeez coming back 3 sacks in the first 2 weeks that he's back is definitely good to see. It just sucks that they can never get that front 4 all healthy at the same time. This week, Leonard Williams is out while they get Azeez back from injury. So it sucks to see that. The secondary is decimated, especially without Xavier McKinney, Adoree Jackson. They were just getting burnt all day. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith completely tore them up. So I was going against you after that Lions loss when I was saying, hey, the Lions are kind of a team on the rise. This Giants team will be fine, but it's starting to look more and more like that 6-1 start was kind of just a thing of luck. Just them, being able to stay in games and winning those close games. They just don't have a lot of talent. And this offense was, pretty much driven on Saquon Barkley. He's been a little banged up the last couple of weeks. He hasn't been nearly as effective. And it shows that once this team started to trail by, 21 points like they did in this game, they can't really do much because this passing offense needs that running game involved as well, and it just hasn't been there the last couple weeks. So it's tough because I mean, after the 6-1 start, you're saying the Giants are going to make the playoffs. It's it's pretty much a guarantee. And now you're looking at it saying these last 4 weeks are super big. The Sunday night game against the Commanders will pretty much tell what's going to happen the rest of the season. So definitely a big in-division matchup. We haven't won a division game yet. We haven't won a game in over a month now. We're 1-4-1 in the past 6. So the Giants want to make the playoffs. They're going to have to show up Sunday night, win that big division game, and see where we go from there. But even if we do make the playoffs, I mean, we're walking in decimated with injuries, not a lot of talent. It would be cool to say we made the playoffs in Dable's first year, but yeah, I just don't see this team having much success in the playoffs. And at this point, we're not going to get a great draft pick. So I say obviously try and go for it. But I just don't know what to expect, even if we do end up making it there.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the Giants are really playing. I think you're right. It would be good to get there in the Shane Dable era. Get there, get a playoff. Yeah, Jared, playoffs. It's doable. It'd be nice, but we aren't expecting anything. All you want as an NFL fan is you want to go into the playoffs for whenever the playoffs start. You want to be all like, anything can happen, That's all you want. That's all you want. That's what I want to say about the Giants. Will it happen? I don't know. This game coming up with the Commanders, which we'll get into a little bit more. That's going to be big because you got destroyed here by the Eagles. Granted, the Eagles, there's a reason they have the best record in football. They had that one bad game against the Commanders, but every other game have looked great. Jalen Hurts, I've been critical of him in the past, but he's playing like an MVP. And I mean, the Giants couldn't get a run game. No one can get a run game going. Fletcher Cox is a monster. We know everything about Fletcher Cox. Also, them adding Ndamukong Suh, Jordan Davis coming back. I feel like I'm missing someone else.
Their whole front seven is terrifying. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying.
And on the other side of the line, it's just as terrifying. That O-line is monstrous. Last week I said it was going to be a game in the trenches. And the trenches, Azeez Ojulari looked good. Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, they didn't show up. And I understand you didn't have Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is hurt, but you need to the Giants need to wake up for this game. And you've been sleepwalking this past month. If you can't get up for this game against the Eagles, something's wrong. Something is wrong. Or are the Eagles just that good? I don't know. Maybe it is just my hatred of the Eagles. I don't think they're just that good. But I don't know. And yes, the Giants are banged up. And I mean, but I don't know. Sean, before we preview the Sunday night game and really get into that, can the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year?
I hate to say it, but I mean, yeah, they definitely could. If you're looking at the NFC, it's really, I mean, only 4 teams, I think, and one of them is kind of behind right now with Brock Purdy. Given he's looked really good with the Niners so far, I just don't know if you can trust Brock Purdy with a couple starts under his belt going in to win the Super Bowl. So that comes down to the Cowboys, the Eagles, which pains me to say very much, and then the Vikings, who, I mean, I don't know if Kirk Cousins, obviously, in prime time in the playoffs, you don't know where you're going to get from him. Old Kirk boy. You never know with that guy. So,
and you saw how the Detroit torched that defense too. So last week,
yeah, their defense has not been looking good lately either. And the Cowboys and the Eagles are 2 of the deepest teams in the NFL. I think the Eagles are top to bottom the deepest team in the NFL. So they definitely could. It sucks to say that I'm hoping one of the AFC teams, if they do make it to the Super Bowl, can beat them, because I can't see 2 Eagles Super Bowls in, 5 years now, after not seeing them ever win that'd be a tough look. Tough look for Giants and be a sad, sad day. So I'm hoping they won't, but I think they're the favorite in the NFC right now. I think they would have to be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I came on here earlier in the season. I was praising the Vikings, and I still think the Vikings have a shot to get there. I think they are the second best. They still are my pick to get to the Super Bowl. But I mean, say what you want about Kirk Cousins. He's having one of his best years ever. But the defense is what really hurt him. That last game against the Lions, or I mean, the Lions' offense is really good, and we know as Giants fans seeing that. But yeah, man. But the Eagles, yeah, they're up there. I expect them to see him at least the NFC Championship game, like so dynamic. I used to give Miles Sanders so much crap about being the Saquon's backup, but he's really good. Jalen Hurts, obviously MVP level right now. I don't know. The only thing you can really argue against them is, hey, maybe they'll die out. End of the season, it's hard to say this consistent as they've been. It's hard to stay that good for that long. But that's not really a bad thing. Like that doesn't happen when you're good. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for the. This is the perfect time. Playoffs are getting rolling. You got the in the hunt graphics and that stuff. And anything can happen these past couple games. I mean, we saw Houston almost knock off the Cowboys last week. So anything can happen. It's that time of the year. I mean, we were witness to the weirdness already last week with the Commanders, and now we go in, going into Washington. I don't know, man. Like I feel like the Commanders came in and they stole they stole a tie against the Giants. Like that, the Giants should have won that game, especially when we talked about it last week. Dable playing for the tie and that stuff. But try to put that behind us. But I mean, you can't when everything's a disaster these past couple games. So can the Giants bounce back here, Sean?
I hope so. I just don't have a lot of confidence in it right now. The way they've been looking the past couple weeks, even in that Commanders game, they did not look strong whatsoever. And they blew the lead late in that game. That big down where they almost have Taylor Heineke attack, and he scrambled out of it and hits. I think it was Curtis Samuel downfield. It's just they're the way that they used to win games earlier in the season. They haven't been finding ways in close games later in the season. So it's going to be tough, and Washington's going to bring a lot of pressure with guys like Deron Payne, John Allen, and Montez Sweat. We just saw what the Eagles did to the Giants on Sunday. It was not pretty. Daniel Jones did not have a lot of time whatsoever. And then you look at the receivers that he's working with guys like, Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James as, two of his top three receivers. It's not a great look. So I just don't know how they're going to score that many points, especially if Saquon's still banged up. So they're going to have to rely on their defense. Hopefully, have to get a lot of pressure on Taylor Heineke, finish with some sacks, because I don't trust the secondary that much either. With guys like Nick McLeod and Cordell Flott, it's a lot of young guys who do not have a lot of experience out there. We've seen that it's been coming back to bite them lately, not being able to stop anyone in the passing game. So the Commanders aren't that dynamic in the passing game, but they do have some good receivers in Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. So honestly, I do not feel that great going into this game. I think they will keep it close, the Giants, but I just have a feeling that they lose this one. Like I said before, I think that 6-1 start is kind of just falling apart at the wayside. And I just don't see. I honestly have a feeling right now that the Giants aren't going to make the playoffs. It just feels like a Giants thing to start off 6-1 and have this great start, and then just completely flop it at the end. So I think it will be a tight game, a good one on Sunday night. But I just have a feeling that the Commanders are going to win, which sucks because obviously I want to see the Giants win. But they're a team that's kind of on the rise right now. The Giants are one of the coldest teams in the NFL. So I'm hoping we can go out and get a win, but I just unfortunately don't see it happen.
Yeah, I'm down on the Giants. I've been down on the Giants, like I mentioned earlier, since that Lions game. But it's I you need to win this game. This needs to be to to go winless in the division. Granted, it is the best division in football right now. Uh, that's not a good look. I understand you're young. You got a lot of, you've been banged up, but that's not good enough. And I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I'm at that point. I'm very intrigued on the Giants offseason. I could care less about this game, even though it's prime time Sunday night. I could care less about the Colts. I could care less about the Eagles. Yeah, I'm wearing all black. My Giants season's over. To be
Don't
honest,
give up yet, Jace. Come on,
nah,
there's still a chance.
I want to be saying anything can happen, but I don't know. I'm still gonna pick the Giants to win because I always do, and Daniel Jones does look great against the Commanders. Even in that tie, he was phenomenal until that last drive in the fourth quarter, just forcing it to Slayton. I'm not. That was just like a Vietnam War flashback I just had right there. That was not good, but that
Yeah.
was rough.
Slayton should have caught that ball though.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna keep saying it. I've been saying it the past couple of weeks. Give Saquon. I understand he's banged up. It's a contract year. Just run the ever living stuff out of him. Just run him into the ground.
I think they have done that the first part of the season. I think this is why it looks like this right now.
I think you can.
And defenses are just game planning against it. They know that we're just going to run Saquon 25, 30 times a game. So, and they know we have no receivers, so they're going to just put one safety up high, and then they're going to bring everyone in the box. And that's what we've seen, ever since that 6-1 start. And now the Giants have nothing to do on offense, and Saquon has no rooms to run. The O-line is banged up too. So our offense is just absolutely torched right now. There's nothing they could do, I don't think.
I don't know, man. I mean, going into this offseason, let's start talking about it. What, in your opinion, is the number one priority for the Giants going into this offseason? Going out and getting, is it going out getting Daniel Jones a wide receiver, or trying to redo the whole Galladay situation? Is it adding something to the defense, like a corner or something in the secondary, or is it just getting a long-term deal done with, or something done with Daniel Jones and Saquon? What do you think is the biggest priority?
I would say biggest priority right now. You need a number one receiver. That's obviously known very well. Kenny Galladay, he better be cut by the end of the season. He should be right now. It's just we'd be eating a lot of dead money. So he's got to be out of here. We need an actual number one receiver. I would like Daniel Jones to stay around at least for a short-term contract, maybe 1 or 2 years. Because if you go into this draft, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks after those top couple, and we're not going to be, around to have a good enough pick to go get one of those guys. We're going to have to give up assets to trade up, which we can't afford right now. So I think you give Daniel Jones a short-term contract. Maybe you go out and franchise tag Saquon, which would be, I think, ideal. I don't want to, give another huge contract to a running back like the Cowboys did, and they have to pay Zeke to basically be the second best running back on the team and not be as effective. So I say try and get those two locked up to short-term contracts. You need a number one receiver, whether it be through the draft or free agency. I think the free agency class is pretty weak at receiver, so hopefully try and go draft one. And then on defense, you need another cornerback aside Adoree Jackson. Fabian Moreau, he looked pretty good after we first signed him initially. He had a couple good weeks, but now it's starting to, show why he was cut by the Falcons practice squad, because he has not been good. So, I mean, that secondary definitely needs a lot of help. I think we're pretty good at safety. But I think cornerback and wide receiver are definitely two of the top needs. And then other than that, we need to help the interior O-line. And then linebackers, we need a lot of help there too because I can't see them keep running Tate Crowder and Micah McFadden out there. It has not been good. Jalen Smith has played all right, but that's definitely, I think, the biggest weak spot on our defense. But biggest two priorities, I would say, is wide receiver and then corner.
Yeah. I'd say wide receiver. I think even if Daniel Jones is good enough, I don't care how like bad the wide receiver free agent market is. I think you go out and you try and get whatever you can there, and continue to invest draft picks in the defense and try and make this defense grow because you already have the young pieces in Ojulari and Tibbs that you're trying to build around. So I think that's the route they should go this offseason. And yeah, Galladay, I don't know what he's still doing there. It's
absolutely
it's
nothing.
tough to it's so frustrating to think about like what this Giants team was at the beginning of the year to what they are now, and how much. I mean, you got to feel good. I mean, I talked about earlier, possibly just the question being brought up: is Dable still the guy in his job? Possibly being in or his seat getting a little bit hotter, and that's just gonna happen with losses. That's always gonna happen with losses. Your seat's always gonna get hotter the more you lose, but I think these are growing pains. The old saying is you must first learn how to lose before you can learn how to win. I think that's a situation we have here, as much as and them being banged up. Uh, as I am wearing all black for like the funeral of the Giants, they still do have a bright future. I will say that they do. Whether it is Daniel Jones at the helm or someone else, look at the past two. I mean, look at really all the Giants Super Bowls. What's been the biggest thing going into each of those Super Bowls? It's the pass rush. You had LT, then you had the dynamic duo of OC Umenyiora and Michael Strahan. Then you had Tuck and JPP. I think Ojulari and Thibodeau can be that, but you need to build around that, and you need to put them in the positions. And Kayvon Thibodeau needs to play in games, not just go out there and look nice. He did nothing. He did nothing. Like, what do you want me to say? He did nothing.
Yeah, he didn't do nothing. He had a decent game. He wasn't terrible.
He was there.
Oh my god.
He was just there.
All right, whatever. But I mean, yeah, if you went into the season like saying going into Week 15, the Giants would be 7-5-1 with a chance to make the playoffs, going into a big Sunday night game, you would say, hell yeah, let's go for it. It's just the way that it started. Obviously, now looking back on it, it's very disappointing because we could have been in a much better spot. But overall, that's still a success of a year. The Giants, I think, definitely overachieved for the talent that they have on their roster. So looking at it now, the way that it started, it kind of sucks, but it's still a success for the first year between Dable and Shane. They did not have any cap money really going into this free agency, and they did the best they could. So I definitely still have a lot of trust in them. I don't think Dable was on any kind of hot seat whatsoever. And I think that they'll be fine moving forward. If we can make the playoffs this year, then it's even a bigger win for them. We'll just have to see if they do. But, I mean, as of right now, the season is still a success. It's just kind of, annoying and disappointing that it had to end the way it did after such a good start. But I think they're fine. The Giants are headed in the right direction still overall as a franchise. And they'll be fine moving forward.
Yeah. I like I said. Yeah. The future's bright. And I'm officially gonna say it. Daniel Jones is off my hit list. I'm going back to Kate. I'm My sights are firmly on Kayvon Thibodeau right now.
I hope Kayvon has 5 sacks on Sunday night.
No, while you were talking there, I'm looking through the box score. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't even record a stat. Go to his Football Reference. It looks like he didn't even play. Granted, I know he played, but
all right, that Azeez Ojulari sack, Kayvon got a hold call. He would have been the first one there.
I understand. I got you. I understand that stats aren't there, but the numbers aren't indicative of everything. But for real, dog.
I agree. I mean, it would be nice to see him get some sacks, but I mean, if you're watching the game, it's pretty evident that he's getting pressure on a lot of the snaps. I'm pretty sure Pro Football Focus has him as the leading pressure getter at all rookies, and head of Aiden Hutchinson. So he'll be fine. He's got to learn how to attract a hold call though, because he gets held all the time and he barely ever gets called for it. I don't know if he's just talking smack to the ref the whole time and they don't want to throw it, but he's got to figure out a way.
Did you see Garrett Wilson? Apparently a couple times this year he's gotten late hitted, going out of bounds, and he asked the ref for the call, and the ref was like, "This ain't the O State here, brother," or something like that. This ain't the O State. Son.
Maybe that's what Kayvon's getting. Maybe all the refs are Oregon State fans. I don't know.
No, it's not that. It's you need to earn that respect. Get to the quarterback, make yourself known. You got to be that guy. You got to have your coming out party. You haven't had that. Everything he's done has been in garbage time. All of his big moments. That big sack on Lamar Jackson. Yeah, that was a great.
That wasn't garbage time.
That was at the end of the game.
Yeah, they were up.
They weren't moving the ball before. The Ravens weren't moving. Okay, and then
you know what garbage time is? That was a 4-point game where the Ravens were going to win the game. That's not garbage time.
Win. I mean, barely. They were barely going to win the game. That game was over.
Garbage time would be.
Listen, okay, all right, then.
No.
All right, then go to the Commanders game. His only sack, he wasn't even blocked. Granted, that wasn't garbage time either, I guess. But
yeah, that game went to overtime. That was
I know,
quarter.
but were you in meaningful? None of that was meaningful. What he's done, that's what I'm. Not really though.
He single-handedly had the game-winning play against the Ravens. Against the Commanders, I mean, he basically he's 1 yard away from having a safety there, which would have won them the game.
Okay.
Just because it's at the end of the fourth quarter doesn't mean that it's garbage time.
All right. But outside of those 2 plays, what has he done?
I don't know.
And one of those plays wasn't necessarily him doing anything great. It was the offense just not blocking him at all.
That's not his fault. I mean,
I understand that, but with those are your 2 plays, those are your 2 standout plays, and you're a top 10 pick, supposed to be so great. You're under the microscope now. That's all I'm saying. You're under the microscope.
I think Kayvon is under the microscope by you and only you.
Okay, look at what happened when Daniel Jones was under the microscope. The Giants started winning. Kayvon Thibodeau. Daniel Jones answered my call. Where are you at? Let's go, baby.
Like I said, I hope he goes out and has 7.5 sacks against the Commanders.
I hope so too. I like Kayvon Thibodeau. I've said so many good things about him. I want him to be great. Yes, I do.
I know this world. It all comes back to the Pac-12 and Utah and Oregon.
No, it
you don't
doesn't.
Like Kayvon. That's okay.
He barely even played against us, dude. He was looking out for his career with the Giants. It's not about the Pac-12 at all. I'm just saying you have to, especially with all the rumors coming into the season, you having 2 good plays and we're on week, 14, 15? Meaningful plays?
He's had more than 2 good plays.
Okay, 2 meaningful plays. 2 standout highlight reel plays.
My God.
For a top
You're just a Kayvon Thibodeau hater.
No, I want the Giants to be good. I expect better from him. That's all. I expect better from him. And I know he can deliver better. He can turn into that game record, but I don't know. Just something isn't. I don't know. I don't know. I want him to do good, but he's under the microscope, and he better answer the call. Cause
all right, Kayvon,
let's go.
You're under the microscope, buddy.
Yeah. So and he's been under that the past 2 weeks. So and hasn't responded well.
He will.
And this will be the game or the Colts. But the Colts, they're dead in the water. This is a meaningful game. This is the biggest game of the Giants' season, really, against the Commanders, right? You win, you're in the playoffs, pretty much.
Yeah. Most likely, yeah.
Most likely,
this game
yes.
is definitely in. Definitely help.
Unless, like, Detroit and Seattle both have to go on, like, tears. That's realistically. Can both of them do it?
I think, the Giants got to win at least. If they win 2 out of the last 4, I think they're in. So you got to beat Washington and the Colts, or maybe the Eagles will be resting players when we play in Week 18, and we can beat them. But you got to win at least 2 of the 4.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, 4? I forgot. Minnesota, right?
The Vikings, yeah.
I totally forgot about that game. Damn. Yikes! That's a big yikes.
Yeah, that secondary going against Justin Jefferson, he might go for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I'm gonna be having nightmares of him doing the gritty. I can already see it. But all right, we'll talk about that.
As long as we don't get a Kirk Cousins gritty on the Giants, that will officially end our season. That will be the end of our season if Kirk Cousins gritty is on us.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. Don't worry about that now. We don't got to worry about that now. We got to worry about the Commanders. In a couple weeks, or we can talk about that and worry about that. Oh gosh, I'm already going to start having nightmares.
Sunday night game too. It's the first one for the Giants since 2020 when they got flexed against the Browns. So
yeah,
doesn't happen a lot.
Daniel Jones in prime time.
I know, scares me.
Is he Kirk Cousins 2.0? I don't know.
He still hasn't won in prime time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not good.
This has to be it. We didn't even mention that. This. Oh my gosh, I don't like it.
We didn't want to jinx them.
Sure. All right. Well,
so maybe we might have.
Okay. I'm already I'm getting too anxious just thinking about it. I think we need to wrap up the show. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we can get back to talk about Giants wins next week. That'd be fun. Not have to doesn't have to be as depressing. I like the fun. Us going back and forth.
Yeah.
Me going after Daniel Jones and it being like, why are you doing that? Why are you being so harsh? They're actually winning. I would love that to be the case for Kayvon Thibodeau, but it's not. So let's win some football games. Let's get some sacks and let's get back on track because, like we said, the future's bright for the Giants. Let's start the future now. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
put that on a quote board.
Yeah, the future's bright. Start it now. Let's go. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Big shout out to Chris Sawyer and Annie Mac Home Mortgage for sponsoring today's episode. And also make sure you go to clovercrestmedia.com for a bunch more information about this podcast and a bunch of other awesome podcasts as well. I'm Big Jace. That's Sean Scanlon. And we'll see you next week for more John about the GMen. Peace out, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. and great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Burn, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.